Welcome back to Under Oath. Today we're talking to a member of one of America's most secretive military units, Adam Gamal. Can you hear me, Adam?
Absolutely, sir. I can hear you loud and clear.
Now, we're using a pseudonym because to protect your identity. And I assume we're protecting it from foreign countries or people who might want to do you and your family harm?
Absolutely. It's protecting me and protecting the circle around me from current and former unit members who are currently either they retired or they are doing missions. So you can affiliate me to them. So what we wanted to do, make sure everybody is well protected from foreign adversaries and from crazy people around the world.
No, I could fully understand that. Now you've co-written a book with another military person, and I guess the question is what actually inspired you to write a book, because we know we're not really allowed to do things like this.
So it's a good question. So Kelly Kennedy, awesome co-author, but what mainly inspired me to write the book? You have an organization working in the shadow in the U.S. military. A lot of people don't know anything about it. A lot of people don't know anything about its members, the sacrifice its members go through. They are shadow warriors. They are heroes by every meaning of the word. So a lot of people don't know anything about this. I wanted to shed some light on what these guys do, and at the same time, I wanted to show our diversity. It gives us a lot of strength. So having people like me who are immigrants, Arab American, Muslim American, can serve and can serve well, and we can benefit from these different minority groups, not necessarily immigrants or non-immigrants. Minority and non-minority groups, it's that. And then I wanted to send a message to every person who thinks he cannot do it. I'm a 5'1" guy, joined the military as 112 pounds. When I joined the unit, I was 128 pounds. They have to give me extra weight to wear when I jump out of an airplane so I can land with everybody else, because I was lighter than everybody else. So I want people to be hopefully inspired to, if you put it in your mind and you put your heart into it, you can do it.
Well, what can you tell us? Like, I assume you did your MOS and then you went to you had to go to jump school in Benning, right?
So I went to jump school in Benning, and I went to free fall school. We have our own free fall school, not the open army. We have like a joint special operation command free fall school. But yes, I went to airborne in Benning.
You know, I had served in 84 to 87 in the 82nd Airborne. And what I did know back then, even back then, was, the numbers as far as diversity, African Americans, Hispanics, Latinos, Asians, the numbers were always higher than in the world we live in. I mean, is it normal for, do you believe that immigrants and people like that? A friend of mine was exactly from Cuba, and he wanted to become a citizen because he joined the military. Do you think immigrants and foreign nationals are kept from doing the military for any reason?
No, I think some of them are like misunderstanding. Like some of them do misunderstand, or some of them don't have. We're not doing a very good job in recruiting, and from those communities, we're not doing a very good job in explaining to them the mission of the military. And I do applaud you for serving in the 82nd, the best division in the Army, the All-American. I did a few years in the 82nd. I joined the unit from the 82nd. The 82nd shaped a lot of my leadership skills, a lot of my ability to do things, and I think it made me a bit more crazy than I was, because normal people don't jump out of perfect aircraft. But to go back to your point, I think we need to do a lot better job in having more diversity in the Special Operation Command and units like the 82nd Division, Airborne Division. When I was in the 82nd, the battalion I was in, we had less than 3% minorities.
Well, that seems like you think the special units have less numbers in comparison to just the general, like the General Army. The General Army numbers, for example, 20% African American, 18% Hispanic. I mean, these numbers are very high, but you think the more specialized units lack that diversity.
I do firmly believe that. We had a mission in Africa, and we needed to, again, this is not breaking any classified methods or means or methods, but we needed to integrate an African-American special operation guy in a specific mission in a specific country. and we had very, very limited number of guys to choose from. Where I think we can do a better job, and I don't know what's the reason, honestly, that we have less in the specialized unit, but I know we do.
It's strange because, recruiters, believe it or not, you and I both know recruiters basically determine where people go from the beginning, whether they talk to people well enough or not. For example, they tried to push me into infantry, but I really wanted to be a medic, so they made me airborne medic. So, I mean, there's a lot of control they have at those beginning steps, maybe not 4 years later, but as you go in. So you think that majority of the training should happen, in the recruiting stage?
I think possibly in the recruiting stage, and you got to educate the general military population. You got to go and recruit. But one thing, for example, for the unit, we recruit from the Special Operation Command, and we recruit from the MI command. So MI MOSs and like military intelligence MOSs and Special Operation MOS. If you join the Army from day one and you become the recruiter, believe, he has shortage in supply clerks. And he's like, you got to be a supply guy. And then that takes you away from competing for this unit. But I do agree with you. I joined the Army as an admin guy, and after 4 years, I changed my MOS to signal intelligence, and that went to airborne school and did that. So I think it's like both sides got to do a good job. The minority guys in the military got to go and volunteer for those extra things, and recruiters got to try to explain, we have those other opportunities out there.
You and I, believe it or not, we do have similar backgrounds. You come from the Arab community. I come from the Jewish community. Both our communities aren't big about the U.S. military, joining the military. And we are treated differently in the military because, there is still a lot of discrimination, in the military, because you are getting people. It's the same cross-section you get in our country. People will treat you a certain way. And sometimes in the military, it's even tougher because there's less control over it. I mean, I assume things weren't great for you for 4 years in comparison to, let's say, a Caucasian soldier.
So I'm really, really glad you said this too, because I have some of my best friends in the Army are Jewish Americans as well. And I don't want to say like it's fortunate or unfortunate. Some of them actually don't say they are Jewish Americans. Some of them they don't put it in their dog tags. They don't want the discrimination. And some Muslim soldiers, they do the same thing. They just say other, or they say they don't want to put it on the record because they don't want to have that discrimination. But obviously, it's not easy. I mean, I especially imagine after the embassy bombings in Africa, in Kenya and Tanzania, and I think it was 98. I started seeing a lot more of anti-Muslim rhetoric in the military. I had and I put it in my book as well. I don't want to burn the book for your readers, but I had the first sergeant calling cadence, we should go kill every Muslim. So after they're doing the run in the morning, and after him calling cadence, I went to his office and I said, but he was a great guy. I mean, I love the guy. And I mentioned to him, and I said, hey, first sergeant, do you have a second? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. He loved me because I was a good runner. We used to go run together. And I was like, do you know that you have 2 Muslim soldiers in your organization? We have to do a lot better job. And again, I don't want to preach because some people accused me of preaching in the book. But I firmly believe our diversity is our strength.
There's a lot of the military is a very diverse organization. The problem is that they still have pockets of discrimination, just like we do in our country. Now, one of the questions when I had the opportunity, when I found out I was getting to interview you, I was wondering what it was like for your family when you said, I'm going into the military, I'm doing this. I mean, how did they feel, especially knowing that you had a possibility of, fighting a war in countries that were primarily Muslim?
So that's a very interesting question too, because when I came to the U.S., I came by myself. I was a 20-year-old dumb guy, I guess, who borrowed $500 from his sister, not speaking English, get a visa, get on a flight, come to the U.S., start taking English as second language classes, working from pumping gas in cars and gas stations to delivering cookies from bakeries and selling whatever, and slowly moved up with my life. And my brother followed me 3-4 months after I came to the U.S. My older brother came, and then when I told people, friends, like immigrant, Arab American friends, when I said I'm joining the military, they thought I was crazy. They thought this is the worst idea ever. These guys just fought the war in Iraq a few years ago. So you get all of this pushback. And my message to everybody, I'm like, you can be Arab and American. You can be Muslim and American. You can be Jewish and American. So the American is there. You can be anything and American. And that's your chosen home. I chose to be in the U.S. It's not like I wasn't born in the U.S., but it's your chosen home. So you got to protect your chosen home. So I had a firm belief I should serve, and I did. And I was trying to convince others to serve. I succeeded with some, didn't succeed with others. Hopefully my book will encourage other people to serve.
Well, we can't talk about any of these. I'm sure there's a lot of things we can't talk about, and the book can't talk about. What do you think your most important contribution to the military was during your time of service?
That's a very loaded question. I think I took a mission as a Muslim American. I felt I have a lot more obligations and a lot more duty, especially after 9/11. You feel like your own people betrayed your own people. Your own people attacked your own people. So how do you balance that? So trying to educate people about different cultures, trying to show people like, not all Muslims are bad, and to show Muslims not all Americans are bad. Because again, as we traveled and as we went to missions, I would hear like, how evil America is, how evil the U.S. military is, how evil you name it, right? And then you try to show people like there is a different side for everything. It's just you got to open your eyes. You got to be more open-minded. You got to be more accepting to see the other side. So my biggest contribution would be showing people that, rather than telling people, I was the guy behind killing so-and-so and killing so-and-so and killing so-and-so. And, we stopped this. Obviously, stopping terrorist acts was a great contribution because we, as an organization, we were part of stopping a lot of those terrorist acts in the U.S. and outside of the U.S. But I feel personally trying to educate people about different cultures was a good goal for me.
Well, we've got about a little less than a minute and a half left. Mental health and suicide among military veterans and active military people is very difficult. What kind of progress do you think we're making?
We're not making enough. Absolutely, we're not making enough progress. I did lose good friends to suicide, not from the unit. I lost people that I had dinner with, and 2 days after I had dinner with, I get a phone call. That person took his own life. We're not doing enough. I think we need to do a lot more. I think we, as a veteran community, it's very nice when people tell us, thank you for your service. But I think we need to do a lot more than thank you for your service. And what I mean by that, we need to have more of a social network where military guys can go and tell their stories and talk to people and have a community. I think one of the biggest things, guys, I'm sure you would agree with me 100%. If you ask anybody, was in the military, do you miss the military? They'll tell you we miss the camaraderie. I'm not sure how we can replicate this outside of the military. I think the guys from Vietnam did before Vietnam, they did some, veterans of foreign wars. They have things. I think we are due for a makeup of those organizations, social networks where we can connect and can support one another. Hopefully, when we are together, that will take away a bit from the suicide. But mental health and suicide, we need to do a lot more for that.
Well, I can't thank you enough, Adam, for being on the show, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you so much. But if I can just close with this,
Sure.
We are donating some of the money of the proceeds from the book to veteran organizations and to immigrant supporting organizations. So we do take in the mental health and the suicide thing to heart. It's just I did not make the book about this because there are other books who talked about those things. But thank you so much for the opportunity to talk. Thanks for the great questions. I do appreciate it.
Be well, my friend.